Bottom of the first inning from Veterans Field. 2-0, the Harwich Mariners lead it. We do apologize for any technical difficulties. Hope to have those resolved at this point. On the mound for the Harwich Mariners, enjoying a 2-0 lead already, is Andrew Moziello out of the University of Oregon. Right-hander will be greeted by Josh Rivera out of the University of Florida. From the windup, Moziello's first pitch is a called strike one.
Yeah, Moziello coming off a decent outing his last time out in the 10-3 win over Katuitt. Gave up just one run and 4 hits over 4 innings pitched.
Puts a fastball in for a strike once again at 91. He sits in the low 90s with that fastball, so pretty good velocity as a starting pitcher. Overall on the season, a .514 earned run average, 0-1 record. 0-2 to Rivera. Waved at and missed strike 3. Talk about a great start. He fans the leadoff man Rivera on 3 pitches, and that will bring up Matt Hogan with 1 away.
Yeah, nice changeup there. It was, of course, Moziello, the righty, facing up against the righty in Rivera, was able to get him reaching on the outside part of the plate. Really nice job to change up the sequence there and get him to swing.
So here's Matt Hogan, the right fielder out of Vanderbilt. Batting from the left side. First pitch swinging, and he flares it out of play over the Chatham dugout down the left field line. Let's take a look at the rest of the Chatham lineup. Lyle Miller-Green waits in the on-deck circle at first base. Max Romero Jr., the designated hitter, bats cleanup. Johnny Castignazi, the third baseman, bats fifth. Jake DeLeo batting sixth in center. As that ball hit out towards shallow left center field, Press Kavanaugh on left comes over to make the catch for out number 2. DeLeo bats sixth in center. Caden Schrenkel, the left fielder out of Oklahoma State, bats seventh. Matt Garcia at second base, batting eighth. And Dominic Tamez bats ninth and will be doing the catching. Efficient start so far for Moziello. Tim gets the first guy out on 3 straight pitches, and just a 1-pitch or 2-pitch pop-out generated the second batter as he starts off. Lyle Miller-Green with a strike 1 called.
Yeah, really efficient start so far, and you don't get a whole lot of that oftentimes with the Cape League. We saw a pretty efficient start the other night from Dombrowski. We'll see what we're in for tonight with Moziello.
0-1 misses low as Miller-Green checks his swing. Lyle Miller-Green, .250 on the season. But the power numbers, they have certainly been there. 6 home runs and 16 RBIs. 1-1 misses just low.
Yeah, and coming in this situation here with 2 outs and the bases empty, not what he's typically used to when he's driving home these home runs, but even still a chance to do some damage.
Moziello's 2-1. That is in for a called strike, 2-2. That's 6 home runs. I believe that is atop at least a tie for the Cape League lead, along with Chase DeLauder from Orleans. 2-2 is chopped right back to Andrew Moziello. He takes a couple of steps, then underhands it to Carter Putz at first, and the side is retired. A 1-2-3 top of the first for Andrew Moziello. Mariners off to a strong start on the road. They lead it 2-0 over the Chatham Anglers. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back to Veterans Field. Colin Casey alongside Tim Foley. Mariners lead at 2-0. And Tim, this season the Mariners just seem to have that angler's number. Every single game the bats come alive. Do you think it's more a testament to the aggressive approach that Harwich has, or just struggles for the Chatham pitching?
I think it's got to be with the Chatham pitching, because with Harwich, they haven't always had this success. I mean, we saw even yesterday against Brewster, they got shut out entirely, but something about seeing these anglers, they're just seeing the ball well whenever they come up to the plate.
Press Kavanaugh leads things off here in the second and watches a breaking ball missed down and outside. For Kavanaugh, comes in hitting .267 on the season. No home runs, 5 runs batted in. Out of UNC Greensboro. Swing and a miss, that'll even the count. Now this Chatham team coming in with the second highest team ERA at 4.82 on the Cape. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. The only team worse, a full run worse. Hyannis Harbor Hawks, 5.82 ERA. And that's right now on pace to only climb as they dug themselves a 3-0 hole against the first place Bourne Braves, as that foul ball sent straight over our heads. And sure enough, 5-0 now, so that lead has increased. Just not the season that the Hyannis Harbor Hawks were certainly anticipating, but seasons they've been getting over the last several years. As there's a line drive into shallow left center, that'll drop in for a base hit. Press Kavanaugh leads things off right where the Mariners left off in the first inning with a single to start the second.
And I've said it a few times across a couple games. Kavanaugh's really arrived recently when it comes to his approach at the plate and what he's been able to contribute in regards to meaningful at-bats. And you see it again there. Just off the end of the bat, was able to flip one into the outfield. So a really nice, as he almost gets picked off at first, a good leadoff man on for the Mariners.
So here's Josh Hood, who has had a lot of success against Chatham this season, 3 for 7 in the 2 games played, with a double and a pair of RBIs. He's also scored 3 times. Another check on the runner, Kavanaugh. He's back with a dive. So if anyone's had their number, it's Hood. First pitch to him is in for a called strike.
And we talk about Hood. I mean, 3 for 7 against Chatham. He's got 6 hits in total on the season. So this is a team that really he's got his most looks against and has had the most success against. He's going to look to have another big game to try and secure a spot in a crowded lineup at this point as things start to get more and more settled in as the season goes along.
Hood swings and misses to fall behind 0-2. He'll be joining the NC State Wolfpack. As there's a high pop-up towards second base. Calling off the second baseman is shortstop Rivera. Makes a catch. There's a first out of the second. So Max Codier look to get things going in the right direction for the Mariners. He is coming in to what will be his 4th game played with the team. 2 for 8 in limited at-bats. He's also drawn a walk, but he has struck out 3 times and has made a couple of errors. So a bit of a on and off start to the season for Codier. Another check on the runner Kavanaugh at first. But he'll get a chance to keep the line moving in this second inning with his team already up 2-0. Mariners looking to get back over 500 as that pitch is in for a strike. 7-7-2 on the season, but just 1-5-2 on the road. Tim, that's not exactly the mark that the Mariners want to have, especially with a lot more road games on the way.
Yeah, you know, you play half your games on the road throughout the course of a season, so you better find some way to get comfortable because you're not always going to have the amenities of home. You're not always going to be able to go through your routines and your warm-ups as you typically would. So today, and it already has been an excellent jump for the Mariners, but again, a good chance to kind of right this trend they've been on.
And they pick off Kavanaugh after another move. Got a little bit too far leaning. Tanner Witt throws over to the first baseman, Miller Green, who applies the tag. And Kavanaugh is a dead duck at first for out number 2.
Yeah, he was playing with fire that entire time, really dating back to Hood's at bat as well. Witt just kept on picking on him, and he finally got him. There were a couple close calls, so I'm not too surprised that he did get Kavanaugh.
Codier watches a ball to make the count 2-1, but he now bats with the bases empty and 2 down here in the top of the second. 2-1, breaking ball over. Harwich coming in as a team hitting .235 on the season, so right in the middle of the pack there, 5th in the whole CCBL as Codier hits this one on the ground to short. Another chance for Rivera. His throw across the diamond in plenty of time, and the inning is over. So despite the leadoff single from Press Kavanaugh, nothing doing for Harwich. We're through 1.5 from Veterans Field. Mariners 2, Anglers nothing. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Home half of the second inning from Chatham. Mariners lead the Anglers by a score of 2-0. Andrew Moziello looks to pick up right where he left off in the first inning after retiring the side in order on Chatham. But Tim, it's a big day in baseball all across, especially in the Cape League with the MLB draft continuing. We had the first round last night. Since then, we've gone through the next 10 or so rounds, and we've seen a couple of Harwich Mariners had their name called, including Carson Seymour, who was the first one to go off the board out of Kansas State.
Yeah, a really exciting day to see these guys who we've had the chance to both talk with and call their games, to see them actually go on to the majors. So very exciting day. I believe 4 Mariners here on day 2 went. Carson Seymour, Evan Shawver, Nick Sinicola, and Pat Winkle.
Huge day for Harwich, huge day for the Cape League in general as Max Romero Jr. swings and misses at the first pitch he sees from Moziello. The 0-1, fouled straight back. Number of Chatham Anglers as well being taken. Noah Cardenas, one that comes to mind. Moziello has no 2 count on the Vanderbilt Commodore, but skips in a breaking ball to make it 1-2.
Yeah, it seems like Moziello working at a quick clip here so far to open up this game.
Takes a minute there after the pitch in the dirt, right after you said it, Tim, as this time he regroups and gets Romero to fan on a pitch on the outside corner. Strike 3, his second strikeout swinging recorded in 4 batters. He's off to a strong start here in Chatham. 1 away in the bottom of the second.
And again, it's that off speed, low and away. It's working for him well so far as that strikeout pitch.
That'll bring up Johnny Castignazi, North Carolina Tar Heel. Takes a big cut and waves and misses. Ignazi, just 15 at-bats this season, but he's gotten a hit in 5 of them. So small sample size, but he has been a strong contributor to this Anglers lineup. He falls behind 0-2 to Moziello. The Massapequa, New York native has also launched a home run, driven in 4 RBIs, but he has been prone to the strikeout, 7 on the year so far. He's able to prolong this at-bat by watching a fastball up and away. Clouds starting to dissipate. Seeing a little bit of sun as it sets out in the west. 1-2, skipped in, evens the count.
Yeah, and a nice reprieve from some of the wet, misty weather we've had over this past weekend with Storm Elsa passing by. Still a little chilly.
2-2 is fouled straight back. Yeah, the wind especially is picked up over the last couple of days. But again, it's great that it's dry, and the forecast for the coming days certainly looking good, but that can all change in an instant here on Cape Cod.
Oh, certainly can. It's really hard to plan too far out in advance. Of course, we thought that today's game might not have been played. It did end up being played, fortunately.
2-2 from Moziello. In there for a called strike 3. He froze him with a breaking pitch, and that sends Ignazi back to the dugout, shaking his head. Back-to-back Ks here in the second for Moziello. 2 down.
Yeah, he's looking good. Moziello looking really good. You said it, right back to that off speed again. 3rd time he's been able to get somebody to, this time around, not even offering at it, but even still able to paint the corner and record another K.
First pitch to Jake DeLeo. Hit on the ground towards short. Picked up cleanly by Hughes. The throw just in time to get the hustling Jake DeLeo to end the inning. 6 up, 6 down for Andrew Moziello. We head to the 3rd inning, 2-0 Harwich. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Third inning from Chatham, Massachusetts, where the Harwich Mariners lead 2-0 in search of their 3rd victory in as many games against the Anglers this season. That would make it 5 in a row dating back to 2019 when they swept the Anglers in the postseason first round of the East Division playoffs. 9-1-2 hitters due up for the Mariners. Hal Hughes will get his first opportunity. The shortstop out of Rice digs into the batter's box.
And Hal Hughes, another guy who expecting perhaps tomorrow to hear his name called. Don't know how much longer we'll be seeing him as a Mariner.
First pitch to Hughes is on the inside corner for a strike. Yeah, it's always tough doing that waiting, kind of. Not sure exactly when your name's going to be called, if your name's going to be called. That feeling's got to be indescribable for a lot of these amateur players as Hughes fouls a pitch straight to the backstop.
Oh, most certainly. This is the biggest moment of their lives, where you have a professional sports franchise that is about to give them an opportunity to play the game they grew up playing for a living. And so certainly a moment where you're waiting.
Pop-up foul heading towards the backstop. Tamez gives it a look, but makes its way out of play. Hughes this season hitting .205. The one home run coming a couple of days ago at White House Field against the YD Red Sox. He's also driven in 3. He was formerly out of LSU, now with Rice, the 0-2. Hit on the ground towards his shortstop, counterpart Rivera. Makes a nice backhanded play, the throw across to Miller Green in time. 1 up, 1 down to begin the 3rd.
Yeah, that's a nice play by Rivera because it was a bit of a slow dribbler over to him at short, but once he picked up the ball, he loaded that thing up and launched it over at Miller Green at first. A really nice arm on Rivera.
Tatum Levens steps back in. He drew a walk and came around to score on Brock Wilkins' 4th home run of the season. In the first inning, swings and misses at a breaking ball, but a lot of people thought that ball was foul. Our own Tyler Henry, who we like to call the VAR of the Harwich Mariners broadcast booth, said that ball looked foul as Levens swings and misses to make the count 0-2.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go back and change the pass. That's really all the insight I have on that one. Call was made. Tough to overturn that after the fact, especially once play resumed.
0-2 is flared out to shallow left. Rivera gives it a look, but it's going to fall in front of Tranquil for a base hit. And Tatum Levens just continues to find ways to get on base. He's aboard with a 1-out single.
Yeah, it's just been, I think I said it last time before he even drew the walk, it's been a thrill to watch him recently. He's finding ways to get on base, whether he's taking a walk, whether he's getting hit by a ball, whether he's doing things like sending little bloopers out into the outfield. He's probably the Mariners' best contact hitter right now, and he's really valuable to have in that leadoff spot.
So he stands on first with Chris Newell at the plate. Newell watches a first pitch fastball in for a strike. Struck out looking on a 3-2 pitch in the first inning. That being the 8th time that Newell has struck out this season. Here he flares another one out towards left field. Tranquil, though, under it in plenty of time, makes the catch for out number 2. Levens retreats back to first.
The designated hitter, number 25, Brock Wilkins.
So that will bring up Brock Wilkins with 2 away. Similar situation to what he had in the first with Levens on first. And he had a towering fly ball that, in the eyes of home plate umpire Mark Delaney, stayed inside the foul pole, putting his team ahead 2-0.
But I think part of what made that call so difficult to make was because it was well above the foul pole. It doesn't extend very high here at Veterans Field as the first pitch misses for a ball. So it's really a discretion call for the umpire. You don't know just how deep that ball is at the time it's passing the foul pole. A really tough call to make.
Tanner Witt with a long look in, now the 1-0. And he gets a fastball over for a strike. And we know it had plenty of distance, and that's saying something. 340 down the left field line here at Veterans. And it's not an easy place to hit a home run if you're a right-handed hitter compared to just 314 down the right field line. 1-1, and that's at the knees, strike 2.
No, but Wilkins got that power, and we had even seen the pitch before. It was that pop-up that was an absolute skyscraper. So he was able to straighten it out a little bit and got it to go in his favor.
Levens takes the lead off first. The 1-2. Breaking ball. Wilkins takes the pitch, and Levens takes off at first. He's into second with a slide. Tamez had a little bit of trouble picking it up out of the dirt. A great jump by Levens. I think if Tamez got that cleanly, Tim, Levens was out at second.
I think it's the same thing that happened the other day against the Mariners for these anglers, where Romero Jr. Back the other day, he had actually dropped the ball as he was trying to make a pickoff attempt down to first before he had it firmly grasped in his hand. And similarly here for Tamez, where he's trying to make the throw before he actually has the ball in his hand.
Levens on second now. 2-2 count to Wilkins with 2 down. Witt's pitch, breaking ball, and Wilkins just able to get a piece of it to stay alive.
Yeah, that thing nearly missed the bat. A nice job by Wilkins to find some way to get contact on that, because At 77, that's a tough pitch to try to match up with.
Right-hand hitting Wake former Stephen Deacon back in, and he watches strike three. A great breaking ball from Witt freezes Wilkes, and the side is retired. So despite the one-out single from Tatum Levens, Mariners unable to add on to their 2-0 lead. We head to the bottom of the third from Veterans Field. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Home half of the third inning from Chatham. Mariners on top 1-2 over the Anglers. 7, 8, 9 hitters due up, and Tim, we made a big deal about Brock Wilkes and his fourth home run of the season, of course, putting the M's up 2-0. But how about Andrew Moziello, who has looked so comfortable on the mound, 6 up, 6 down, got to feel good for the Oregon Duck.
Certainly, and it seems like he's got everything working for him so far. You know, he's got the fastball's been going great for him, but it's been that changeup that he's gotten each of those 3 strikeouts on. 2 of them swinging after it, 1 of them looking. So Moziello really strong through the first 6. We'll see how he tries to close out this final third of the lineup.
Caden Trankel digs in out of Oklahoma State. Still looking for his first hit against the Mariners this season. He's actually struck out 3 times in 5 at-bats. He swings and fouls the first pitch off to the left.
You know, Colin, this is probably, we were talking about it pregame, probably our best bet at catching a foul ball across the Cape.
Yeah, we're far enough back, so a pop-up can kind of carry its way over the protective netting as Moziello delivers a strike 0-2. It's also probably the safest place for parked vehicles on the Cape. Pretty far away, at least the far side parking lot down the right field line, as look out, that fastball comes up and in on Trankel 1-2.
You and your car, you're always trying to make sure you're not getting hit by a pop-up.
Given how close I usually park to the field, yeah, I think I have reason to believe as the fastball misses in the dirt 2-2. But yeah, I think I'll be okay this time unless a right-hander really fouls it off straight back.
That'd be unfortunate. Cracked windshield, you don't even get the baseball.
2-2 is foul tipped. And it looked like some dirt kind of kicked up and got Levens in the eyes. I swear every game Tatum Levens has a foul tip off of him or something. He's been taking a beating all season long, and the umpire giving him a little bit of time, but he throws the mask on. He's one of the tougher guys on this Mariners team.
Yeah, you know, as a catcher, you're going to take a lot of contact, but it does seem like it's been abnormally above average in regards to how often Tatum Levens has been getting hit behind the plate. And you said it, he's a tough guy. One of the more interesting equipment choices. He always wears a bandana.
High fly ball out to left field. Kavanaugh ranging to his right. He's under it, makes the catch for out number 1. So 7 in a row retired to start the game for Moziello. Matt Garcia looks to change that, the second baseman out of Chipola College.
And that was probably the longest at bat that Moziello has had to deal with so far in this one. So we'll see how he bounces back.
First pitch to Garcia is a strike. Comes in looking to get the bat going. 188 on the season. No homers, 3 runs batted in. He struck out 13 times. As the fastball misses just below the kneecaps. Chipola 1 of 2. Or Garcia 1 of 2 Chipola College guys in this lineup, along with Lyle Miller Green. 1-1 in there for strike 2.
You talk about Garcia trying to get it going at the plate. Really, it's been the story for Chatham all season long, trying to get it going at the plate. They only have 2 guys hitting 250 or better.
1-2 fouled off. Yeah, it really hasn't been a great season for them, hitting-wise. As we mentioned, Hyannis was the only team worse than them in terms of ERA, also the only team worse than them in batting average. So had it not been for Hyannis, Chatham would certainly be viewed in a different light as the 1-2 misses inside. So I guess by comparison, benefits them a little bit.
And that's what kind of benefits them being in the East here, because they still have had their amounts of success, as they were even able to beat Bourne last night, hand Bourne their second regulation loss, so to speak, of the season. And so being in the East, it's a little more forgiving. First place is 20, Chatham right now 15, only 2.5 games back.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, as Garcia goes down chasing one. Andrew Moziello, 8 in a row retired to start the game, including 4 strikeouts, 2 down in the bottom of the third.
And he gave him the fastball that time. That one cruising in at 92 miles an hour. So I think excellent IQ there to understand perhaps Garcia. He knows his previous 3 guys all struck out on the off speed, blows it by him.
First pitch swing, Dominic Tamez, he fouls it straight back towards the parking lot. Maybe I spoke too soon. Don't think that had enough juice to get there. But Tamez, the catcher, still looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 16 on the Cape, and he falls behind 0-2. Mariners have gotten outstanding starting pitching from a number of guys this season, and there's a breaking ball swung on and missed, strike 3. 5 strikeouts through the first time through the order for Andrew Moziello. 9 up, 9 down on Chatham. We head to the 4th inning. Harwich 2, Chatham nothing. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Top of the 4th inning from Veterans Field in Chatham, where the Harwich Mariners lead it 2-0 over the Anglers. Now for the next 3 innings of play-by-play, here's my broadcast partner, Tim Foley.
Thank you, Colin. As we move now to the top of the 4th inning, we'll see the heart of the order coming up here for the Mariners. Carter Putz, Jordan Beck, and Press Kavanaugh. Just 1 hit from each of those 3 guys the first time around. It was Kavanaugh with a single, and he ended up being picked off over at first. So, Colin, what are you looking for from these guys the second time through?
Well, definitely I'm expecting to see maybe a little more conservative action on the base paths. As we say that, but it seems like every single time the Mariners are aggressive. Not exactly Brewster aggressive, but aggressive nonetheless. So we'll see exactly if that changes at all. But first time through, you got to be pretty happy with what you've seen. Of course, Brock Wilkes, when he's hitting the ball, your team usually has a good chance to contend in a game. So this time, we'll see if the patience stays at the plate. They made the starting pitcher Witt, throw a lot of pitches. He's out for his 4th inning of work, which is kind of unique because a lot of times we see Chatham starters pitch 3 innings and then that's all.
Especially interesting to see when you consider that this is Witt's first start in a an Anglers uniform. Not sure when exactly his last outing was for Texas, but had to have been a decent enough amount of time ago where we'll have to keep an eye on how Witt's looking on the mound as the first pitch seen by Putz. Hit over to the third baseman, Ignazi, throw on the first in time to record the first out on 1 pitch. And we're talking about efficiency, trying to get through it. And how's that for efficiency?
Yeah, able to get Putz to ground out to third once again. Carter's one of those guys who, similar to Levens, just finds ways to get on base. So if you're able to retire a guy like him, certainly a step in the right direction. He's only made 1 mistake all game, that pitch to Wilkes, and even that was questionably a mistake based on that ruling with the home run. So all things considered, you have to be pretty happy with what Witt's done through 3 1/3 innings.
Certainly, as the first pitch into Beck bounces away from Tamez behind the plate. Beck last time out struck out swinging for the 2nd strikeout recorded by Witt. That was, of course, to end the 1st inning. He's got a 1-0 count here. And that ball runs in on Beck. He has to duck out of the way, and now Beck ahead in the count, 2-0.
These two guys very familiar with each other. They faced off in Omaha in the College World Series with Witt's Longhorns getting the victory over Tennessee.
2-0 pitch in there for a called strike 1. And I believe, yes, Texas sending Tennessee home, sending Beck to Harwich.
Yeah, definitely one of those good news, bad news things. Great for Harwich Mariners fans, not so great for Vols fans.
As this ball sliced away, count goes 2-2, and that's something that's always tricky for us as broadcasters.
Right.
As we wait for our players to come in. Of course, we wish these guys the best of success, but we want to see the Mariners with the best tools possible to be able to compete in such a competitive league, which it goes by quickly. So every week that a player is delayed from arriving really makes a difference to a team, as the 2-2 pitch thrown outside, count now full here against Beck.
Yep, this is exactly what I've been hoping to see, more of these full counts work. There's been a lot of them so far. They're driving Witt's pitch count up, and when you're making your debut, it makes you more susceptible to making a mistake.
Pitch number 61 is fouled off towards the parking lot. Count will stay full here.
Yeah, 61 pitches through 3 1/3. So pretty high rate, well over 15 per inning in terms of pitches, and Mariners trying to keep driving that up and trying to work into this Chatham bullpen, which they've had a lot of success against so far this season.
Yeah, of course, as Witt is a new guy, this ball bouncing away from Tamez behind the plate. Beck will meander down to first as he'll take ball 4. And, of course, with this Chatham bullpen, Witt, of course, he's a new guy. You haven't seen him yet if you're Harwich, but this bullpen, you've seen the guys in there, and you've had a lot of success. So, as you mentioned, Colin, Harwich trying to get to that bullpen sooner rather than later to try and pad this lead. This brings up the batter in Press Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh, last time out, hit a single over the shortstop's head to get on first. Ultimately did get picked off by Witt. That was a lengthy battle between Witt and Kavanaugh. Plenty of pickoff attempts as first pitch Kavanaugh sees from the lefty batter's box is in for a called strike 1.
And that's something I think Tyler Henry and I noticed in 2019. Chatham pitchers very keen to keeping a close eye on the runner at first base. We've seen a lot of throws over so far this season. We saw that a lot as well in 2019.
Yeah, I remember Tyler actually making a note of it in our previous broadcast when he and I were on the call. As stutter step from Beck over at first. As the 0-1 pitch misses down and away, count now 1-1. Beck thought about going and jumped back, perhaps thinking that ball was going to get away from Tamez behind the plate for a brief moment. He does hold on to it. Witt, he does stare back over at first base. Looks in, offers a pickoff at first, and Beck slides back in safely.
Yep, keeping a close eye on Beck, who this season It's not been really a threat to run. He's only attempted one and was caught stealing.
And that's always the question is, if you get caught in one of your few attempts, are you going to have the kind of the bravery, so to speak, to try it again? Like, are you going to be able to bounce back from being picked off and do what it could take to give your team an edge? As Kavanaugh offers but can't find anything on the 1-1 pitch. Count now 1-2.
And looking at the steals numbers for Harwich, not many guys really up there. The team high is 4 for Ben Malgeri, who's not in the lineup today, and after that you've got about 4 guys with 2 and then a few guys with 1. So no real big threats to steal in this Harwich Mariners lineup.
Harwich has this ball just over the press box to our left. Harwich tied at the moment for 6th in the league in stolen bases with just 15, tied with each YD and Falmouth. So again, not the greatest in regards to stolen base volumes as this ball gets away from Tamez. He does keep it in front of him, so that will keep the count even here at 2-2.
Funny thing about those stolen base numbers is the bottom 2 teams are the last place Hyannis Harbor Hawks and the first place Bourne Braves. Baseball's a crazy game.
Yeah, it can be played a multitude of styles. As Beck does go, the hit and run was on as swinging was Kavanaugh.
I like that call actually from Coach Engler. Kavanaugh's a guy who is really reliable when it comes to putting the ball in play. If you need him to put the bat on the ball with 2 strikes, he's your guy to do it. He's able to find a gap. Beck's got enough speed where he could probably score from first. We'll see if it's in action again. I don't know if it will be, considering Chatham might know something's on.
The 2-2. That one misses just outside. Count now runs full here.
And maybe you put it back on now with a full count.
So far today from Witt, we've seen 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. Looking to get strikeout number 4. He does check on Beck over at first base, and he'll step back on the mound. We do have a final 2 report already. Brewster beating the YD Red Sox 5-1. They now head the Eastern Division. Beck goes for second, and he will take it as the full count pitch misses up high. So Kavanaugh now stands on first with a walk, and it's back-to-back walks dealt by Tanner Witt.
Yeah, control starting to dwindle, and there you have it, Tim. They're starting to reap the benefits of making him throw a lot of pitches. His command's starting to drift, and he's going to have a mound visit as his catcher heads out. And actually, he's just going to go ahead and give signs. Now we have the mound visit as pitching coach heading out to talk and calm his guy down with 2 on and 1 away.
Witt to this point has thrown 70 pitches.
Continuing with our corporate sponsors, we also want to recognize and thank Franklin Sports Cape Destination.
Looks like there is a righty warming up in the bullpen for Chatham. We'll see. Likely not here, as I believe that is the pitching coach for the Anglers on the mound presently.
Printing Access Bats, Quest Diagnostics, Cape Space, and of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for more than 50 years of support.
Taking a look at some of the other scores going on around the league, you have Bourne currently leading the Hyannis Harbor Hawks by a score of 5-0. That's in the bottom of the 7th inning at McKeon Park. Falmouth leading Orleans 1-0 in the bottom of the 8th at Gov Fuller Field. Wareham and Catuit tied in the bottom of the 4th at Spillane. And of course, here we are at Veterans Field. Harwich leading 2-0 thanks to a 2-run shot from Brock Wilken, hit just over that foul pole out in left field. And Josh Hood standing in, he swings and misses at the first pitch seen from Witt.
Good bounce back pitch for Witt after walking back-to-back batters. Going right after Hood. That's probably what his pitching coach told him to do. Attack, attack, attack these Harwich bats.
Hood, he'll sky one up here. That'll go straight back. Take a bounce off the hill, and the swarm of Cape children chasing after it. Would not be a Cape Cod Baseball League baseball game if not for the flurry of screams you hear after any foul ball. 0-2 count here to Hood. Beck on second, Kavanaugh on first. Hood will pop this one up, hovering over the Harwich dugout. Chasing over to catch it is Lyle Miller Green. He runs out of space, however. Count still 0-2. We'll try again.
Good job by Hood fouling off a really tough 0-2 pitch, a challenge fastball from Witt. Wonder if he's going to focus more on throwing the heat instead of trying to get guys with the breaking stuff. We've seen him strike out a number of guys, including Wilkes earlier, with a backwards K on the breaking ball, but now a lot of heat.
Witt thought about offering back to second. He went into his windup motion and then offered over towards second, or at least looked as though he was going to. 0-2 count. And Hood skies one up. That's going to come down foul, but another big shot from a Mariners righty over towards that left field side.
And very similar to the foul ball we saw from Wilkes in the first inning before he straightened one out for a 2-run home run. We'll see if history repeats itself here with Hood at the plate. And this would be a huge opportunity for the Mariners to extend the lead. Both times they've beaten Chatham, they've had to come back. This time, they might not have to if they're able to put up a huge lead early.
Hood checks his swing. He did swing, however, and so he strikes out, but the ball gets away from Tamaz behind the plate, and Hood scurries down to first safely. So record that one as a...
No, he's actually ruled out because there was a runner already on first base, so if there's less than 2 outs, he's automatically out no matter what. He tried getting away with it because Kavanaugh made a pretty good jump on the ball, but wasn't able to fool anyone, although it was a productive second out, moving both runners up 90 feet.
All right, well, there you have it. Our rules expert, Colin Casey. Thank you for the insight on that one.
Of course.
That certainly would have gone over my head. Even still does benefit the Mariners despite recording the out. As you said, both runners up 90 feet now. Jordan Beck on third, Press Kavanaugh on second. First pitch seen by Max Codier is fouled off. He's behind 0-1. So that is 4 strikeouts from Tanner Witt so far on this young game. In the first 3 innings, we're each moving by rather quickly, but pace of play has certainly slowed down a bit after 2 walks and a lengthy at-bat there from Hood. Ball hit on the ground by Codier. Over towards second. Throw on to first is in time to record the out. We move now to the bottom of the 4th inning. Mariners leave runners in scoring position. We'll be back in just a minute. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
Josh Rivera.
Welcome back into historic Veterans Field here in Chatham, Massachusetts. top of the lineup once more for the Chatham Anglers. Andrew Moziello looks to continue his streak of success so far. He's got 5 strikeouts the first time through the lineup, and he's retired each of the first 9 batters faced here. Josh Rivera, he struck out swinging to open up the home half of the first inning. Moziello, first pitch offering. Ball hit on the ground to Hughes. He'll scoop it up. Bobbles the transition from glove hand to bare hand. Ball stays over at short, and standing on first is Josh Rivera.
That's a frustrating one if you're Hal Hughes. You were able to pick it clean. Went to get it out of the glove, and the ball just kind of popped right out. Plenty of time for Rivera to get there with his speed down the line. So, first base runner of the game for Chatham on the E6.
E6 is the ruling, as Hughes did have enough time to make that play. So now stands in Matt Hogan. Right fielder, flew out to left his first time around. First pitch he sees, down in the dirt right about his feet. 1-0.
And Rivera, dangerous guy against the Mariners this season. Came in just 2 for 7, but he's scored 3 runs. So when he gets on base, he certainly makes it count.
Moziello going to do his best to not allow that to happen. As pickoff attempt over at first. This is the first time all game here in the bottom of the 4th that Moziello's had to operate with runners on base. As he now is pitching from the stretch, he does do another pickoff attempt over at first, and sliding back in safely is Rivera. No pitch fouled off at the plate, and that one got a piece of Levens' left thigh. So again, a bit shaken up there. Gets up gingerly, goes after that one. And Mark Delaney, home plate umpire, taking his time, walking out to Moziello, handing him a ball. He'll brush off home plate, certainly. There he goes. As that is the kind of relationship that you'll have between an umpire and a catcher.
And Levens just continuing to take a beating back there. Really reminiscent. I remember Alex Avila in the 2013 ALCS. It seemed like every game in that series he had something hit him, a collision or whatever. He really paid a price for the Tigers in that series.
Hogan now ahead in the count, 2-1. Hogan playing out of Vanderbilt. Had not appeared in a game for Vanderbilt since May 18th. So had not taken part in the team's trip to Omaha, as he now is dealt a full count here.
And despite that, though, his head coach, Tim Corbin's talked about how beloved he is by his teammates and that he'd drop anything to help anyone at any time. So he's one of those guys that is a really good personality to have in your dugout.
And that's important when it comes to a baseball player, is the full count pitch fouled off just over our heads. We'll do it again. You know, you'll get scouts who not only are looking at what these guys are able to offer on the field, but off the field as well. I mean, I've heard stories where scouts will ask teams if they can have a word with these players' host families, see how they are in a more casual environment where they aren't, you know, being looked after by the team, and see how they are as people outside of the game, because, you know, there's a strong correlation between the kind of success you can expect to have. As down goes Hogan swinging. 83 miles an hour low in the zone from Moziello, and that is strikeout number 6 from the Duck.
Strikeout pitch has been working like we haven't seen so far this summer for Andrew Moziello. This is a sign of things to come for the rest of the summer. He's going to be one of the better arms in the entire CCBL.
This brings up Lyle Miller Green, grounded out to Moziello on the mound his first time around. Moziello's first offering skips in the dirt. Levin's able to hop to his right to make that block. It's a 1-0 count now. Next pitch again misses. This one inside as Miller Green shies away from it. 2-0.
You want to talk about a guy who's had quite the influences on him throughout his amateur career. Played for a coaching staff that included assistants Matt Holliday and Robin Ventura.
As the 2-0 pitch misses again, 3-0 here. Always helps to have guys like that who are helping to show you how to play the game.
Yeah, Holliday, of course, a really prolific major league career. The Rockies as well as the St. Louis Cardinals.
3-0 pitch does find the zone. And this at-bat continues, 3-1.
Part of that 2011 World Series winning team. And really just one of the more reliable bats you can have in a lineup for most of that start of the 21st century.
Swing and a miss is Miller Green. So now after being ahead in the count, 3-0, Miller Green faces a 3-2 count here. Moziello, an excellent job battling back with these last two pitches. Moziello, 6 strikeouts so far. Let's see what he goes for on the payoff pitch. Instead, he'll opt to pick it off over at first, trying to make sure that Josh Rivera stays put.
We talked earlier about Miller Green being at Chipola College. He's actually transferring to Oklahoma State to play for Tom Holliday's son, Josh. So talk about a connection there between two managers.
And that ball ends up down low on the full count. So Lyle Miller Green will walk down to first. Josh Rivera will move on to second. And this will bring up Max Romero Jr., the designated hitter today for Chatham.
That first walk surrendered by Moziello on his 50th pitch of the night. So the efficiency had been pretty good prior to this inning, but the cleanup man up, he's in a bit of a jam trying to keep this 2-0 lead for Harwich.
Romero Jr. last time around struck out swinging to open up the second inning. First pitch is in for a called strike, and we've seen this a few times, and as is the trend with baseball, whenever you get through the lineup the first time around, that second time around it always seems to be just a hair more difficult, and Chatham giving an excellent example here as they have 2 on with only 1 out. Ball hit on the ground, picked up by Codier. Hughes, double play. 4-6-3, the double play went Codier to Hughes to Putz to record the 2 outs. So 2 get on for the Anglers, but nothing comes of it. We move now to the top of the 5th inning. Harwich still leads Chatham 2-0. We'll be back in just a minute. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Welcome back into Veterans Field here, top of the 5th inning action coming at you from Chatham. Hal Hughes to lead it off for the Mariners. We will also see Tatum Levens and Chris Newell, and we will also see in this inning a new pitcher for the Anglers. As the day is done for Tanner Witt, you now have Sebastian Keene on the mound. Keene out of Northeastern, the righty, as Hal Hughes takes the 1-0 pitch into left field, caught by Caden Trenkle, one away in the 5th.
Yeah, Keene, as you mentioned, on Northeastern, so a teammate of Cam Schlittler and Ben Malgieri for Harwich. Was drafted in the 11th round of the 2019 draft out of high school. He chose to attend Northeastern instead of signing with the Red Sox. You might wonder, Tim, why would he do that as a North Andover, Massachusetts native? Well, it turns out his favorite team growing up is New York Yankees, so maybe that might have something to do with it.
Oh, interesting. As first pitch to the new batter in Levens gets away. It's down low, 1-0. Now, one of the things I'm wondering here, you mentioned how Keene is the teammate of both Schlittler and, as Levens fouls this one off, Schlittler and Malgieri. Now, if you're Schlittler and Malgieri in that Mariners dugout, are you tipping off your batters to what this pitcher can throw?
100%, no question about it.
A 1-1 pitch finds its way in for a called strike, 1-2.
I mean, you got to take advantage of every ounce of intel that you have, and you want to help out every single guy who steps up to the plate and say, hey, this is what this guy's tendencies are.
1-2 pitch in for called strike 3. That's the first time Tatum Levens has been retired all day long, and he goes down looking. First strikeout from the new pitcher in Sebastian Keene. This brings up Chris Newell, who's still looking to get on base for the first time today. Struck out looking back in the first inning, flew out to left back in the 3rd. It's been a relatively quiet game, save for the home run from Brock Wilken back in the first inning, top half of the first inning. So some action to right out of the gate, but relatively quiet since then. Newell fouled off the first pitch he saw from Keene. He's behind in the count, 0-1. Oh, 1 pitch just misses outside, 1-1.
Yeah, Keene on the season, coming in, making 2 starts. So this is actually the second time he's come out of the bullpen. So he's done a little bit of starting pitching, but also a reliever for Tom Holliday.
1-1 pitch. Ball is popped up. That one drifting into the outfield. Jake DeLeo makes a catch in center field. 2 away now in the 5th. Or, pardon me, no, that's the end of the inning. Excuse me. 3 away here in the 5th. We move now to the bottom of the 5th inning. We will see Ignazi, DeLeo, and Trenkle for the Anglers. For the time being, we'll step away. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Johnny Ignazi out of UNC leading it off here for the Anglers, bottom of the 5th inning. Still looking for some offense, these Anglers are. They did get 2 on last inning, but that was only at the hands of a Hal Hughes error at short and a walk. That's the only offense they've had so far. No bats have been put onto balls hitless through 4. Ignazi's behind in the count, 0-1. Hits one on the ground. Stepping up is Hood to make the grab. Throw on to first is in time, 1 away.
Moziello, much needed first out to begin this inning after leadoff man reached last inning. Hughes making the error. Things got a little shaky with a couple of guys on base, but since then, Moziello has settled down, was able to get that 4-6-3 double play. Really the most confident we've seen him all summer long.
Certainly is, and of course, in case I did not mention it, I know I did not, Moziello is still on the mound for the Mariners, working on his 5th inning here. First pitch into the batter, DeLeo finds its way in for a strike. So far, 6 strikeouts from Moziello. That was through the first 4 innings. Now to this point, first 4 and a third. He's given up just the 1 walk. And that error, largely out of his control, was a pretty manageable ball. 1-1 is sliced back by DeLeo.
And looking at this Mariners starting rotation, Eric Raiselman, 5 shutout innings yesterday. Today, Moziello are working on 5 shutout innings so far this time. It seems like they're getting deeper and deeper as these guys make more and more starts and get more comfortable.
This ball fouled away down the right field line. Count 1-2, and it certainly does seem that way. For Raiselman, you mentioned getting good starting. That was just his 2nd appearance as a Mariner, his first start. So a guy who's certainly settling in quickly for Harwich. Certainly an important factor as this team has been looking for pitching down the stretch. Ball hit on the ground. Potts can't come over to make the grab. It is picked up, however, by Codier. The errant throw back to Moziello at first is off the mark, so safe on first is DeLeo.
We'll see how they score this one, as there's a tough play. They're going to call it a base hit.